Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Stephen Jones to the stage. Let's give him a round of applause. Actually used to jump over him on the demo. That's not happening anymore, so.
Thank you. How's it going? All right. Got my notes out. Well, thank you, Sensei, and the rest of the Kersey family for having me tonight. It truly is an honor to be your guest speaker this evening. I'm very excited to share with you some of my life stories with you all, and particularly highlight how martial arts has helped me shape me into the man that stands before you tonight. For those of you who already know me, I'm so happy to see you again. Honestly, it's such a great feeling to be in the presence of my second family. And for those of you who don't know me, well, I put my gi and white belt on back in 1998. And 18 years later, I'm proud to say that I hold a 3rd degree black belt. But let's take you back to 1998. Meet 6-year-old Stephen, who was extremely shy, lacked self-confidence, and had a set of teeth that had yet to go through 2 rounds of braces. But from a very young age, 6-year-old Stephen had the courage to dream big. For my whole life, I wanted to be an engineer, following in the footsteps of both of my parents. I wanted to challenge myself in ways that I had never been challenged before, while at the same time make a positive and significant impact on the people around me, both near and far. I longed for the day where I could point at something and say, I made that happen. But most of all, I wanted all these dreams to come true. So hence the dilemma. How was a 6-year-old lacking self-confidence supposed to achieve such lofty goals and aspirations for himself? The answer was Mr. Kersey's karate school. So I received my 1st degree black belt in 2002. And throughout my journey from white to black, Sensei taught me several inspirational quotes that I live my life by every day, even now. So here's the first quote I'd like to talk about. This is a black belt school. We're dedicated, we're motivated, and we're on a quest to do our best. As a child, repeating these quotes on the surface just seemed like another component of karate class, katas, sparring, and self-defense. But little did I know that in actual fact, Sensei was teaching me several life lessons along the way, and helping me and my fellow classmates to grow and strengthen our character. Through martial arts, Sensei taught me what it meant to be a determined and motivated individual. And by instilling these qualities into me as a young boy, it allowed me to recognize my strengths at a young age and helped me to play with those strengths as I grew up. Karate revealed my fast learner ability and provided an avenue for my ambitious mindset to flourish. And as such, I was able to structure my high school schedule to give me the best chance of achieving my first life goal, getting accepted into university for mechanical engineering. So what did that translate into? I was fortunate enough to attend a high school that offered the IB program, and I knew that success in the IB program would put me just an extra step forward in my education and university applications, along with developing my ability to effectively time manage, confidently speak in public, and face the fear of the unknown. At the same time, completing the IB program would be no small feat, and quite the challenge. But then again, I did like the challenge. The academic expectation of IB was comparable to a university level, with a requirement of 200 hours of community service. But even though IB felt overwhelming at times, I would always take a step back and look at the broader picture, and remember that I am from a black belt school, meaning that I had the black belt motivation to finish in the top of my high school class, as well as the black belt determination to go beyond the 200 hours of volunteer service, almost clocking in closer to 700 hours. Dedication and motivation, along with the commitment of always striving to finish something that you start, are some of the essential qualities to setting and meeting your goals. And I attribute my high school success to Mr. Kersey's Karate School. So, heading into 2010, I felt I had prepared myself to the best of my ability for university applications. And again, due to my ambitious nature, I had my mind set on one school for engineering, MIT. For For the year of 2010, there were over 30,000 international applicants, and from the allotment from mechanical engineering only, I had approximately a 0.16% chance of being selected from a diverse group of many aspiring students from all over the world. I successfully made it through several rounds of in-person and phone interviews with MIT faculty members and past alumni, but when it came down to the final selection, I received a letter from MIT, and I wasn't selected. As to be expected, I was devastated. How would I ever recover from what I perceived to be an ultimate failure? This is where Sensei's second quote came into play. "Never, never, never give up" by Winston Churchill. What I had not realized is that even through this rejection letter from MIT, I had earned early acceptance to the University of Waterloo for mechanical engineering with an academic scholarship. Waterloo offered engineering students to take part in 6 different 4-month internships, allowing us to gain 2 years of work experience in different industries, even before graduating. Waterloo was actually the only engineering school to be affiliated to MIT in Canada, and Waterloo allowed me to be close to my family and friends that we all see here tonight. And now, being a Waterloo alumni, I can honestly say it was one of the best decisions of my life. So just as I had encountered with IB and high school, the expectations and pressures of engineering were even more overwhelming than I had experienced before. But it was once again the determination and motivation from martial arts that helped me to persevere and graduate with distinction in 2015. But before graduating, I was faced with another situation where I needed to rely on Sensei's guidance of never giving up. And it involved what is now the next chapter of my life, Apple. I've been an Apple fanboy for my whole life, being the proud owner of the first ever iPod release back in 2001. You remember that one? The white and black display, no color, 4 tacky functional buttons. It's about as thick as 2 iPhone 7s. Yeah, that doesn't sound really appealing today. But back in 2001, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Even making me think that if I became an engineer, maybe one day I could work at somewhere like Apple. So fast forward to the spring of 2014. Searching for my next internship position on Waterloo's job postings, I came across a 4-month opportunity for Apple in manufacturing design. Immediately, I knew this was the internship I wanted. After countless in-person and phone interviews over the next several weeks, I was confident that I had done enough to get the job. But I didn't get it. How could this happen? This was an MIT rejection letter all over again. But was I going to let one unsuccessful attempt stand in the way of one of my greatest childhood dreams? Not at all. In fact, not being selected for the internship fueled my desire, my determination, and my motivation to try even harder to land the Apple job for my last internship in the following winter. Unlike last time, I spent weeks on end preparing for the Apple interviews, and this time I was more confident than ever. And it turned out my passion shone through because I was selected for that internship. Never, never, never give up by Winston Churchill. The rest is history, as I was invited back to Apple for a full-time job in manufacturing design after graduating. And now I get to work with Apple products like the iPhone, the Apple Watch, and future unreleased products that none of you maybe know about for the rest of my life. So truly, I have Mr. Kersey's Karate School to thank for my success at university, and especially for helping me land my dream job, giving me the dedication and passion of a martial artist that set me apart from the rest of the crowd. So thank you. So now I have one last quick story for you guys. Now, being an engineer at Apple means working in an extremely fast-paced environment, including late nights of conference calls and trips to China that always seem to be a little too frequent. Therefore, I knew I needed to do something that I would ensure to stay active outside of work, so I did the most logical thing. Trained for an Ironman. For those of you who don't know what an Ironman is, this is one of the most grueling triathlons in the world. 3.8 kilometers of swimming in open water, 180 kilometers of biking, and then a marathon, 42.2 kilometers of running, one after the other, all in one day, for a grand total of 226 kilometers traveled. For those of you who do know what an Ironman is, you're probably asking, why? Well, Each person that trains for an Ironman has their own individual goals in mind, and mine was simple: to finish. I had 17 hours to finish the full triathlon to officially be a qualified Ironman, so that became my goal. But how do I even approach such a daunting task? Sensei's third quote: focus your eyes, focus your mind, and focus your body. Over this past year, I would wake up early and put in a few hours of training before work, usually running or swimming. I would ride my bike to work more often than not, and usually go for longer rides along the San Francisco Bay and Pacific Coast. And with the hectic work schedule that I have, training was no doubt a huge commitment, with some days being better than others. But on those difficult training days, I would constantly tell myself to stay focused and keep going, always visualizing what the finish line on race day would look like. And after a year of training, November 5th, just a few weeks ago, race day was finally here. The entire experience was completely surreal, getting to race alongside some of the most greatest athletes in the world, while the most supportive fans cheer you on along the way. And each leg of the triathlon had its own challenges that I didn't even know about, with crashing waves during the swim and 50-kilometer-per-hour headwinds during the bike. But Sensei's lesson on focus was never more prevalent than during the second half of the marathon. The halfway point of the run passed right by the cutoff for the finish line. And it was a mentally defeating thought to think that I had another 21 kilometers between me and my goal. However, I had come too far to give up, so I fought through the pain and focused my eyes on the road ahead, focused my mind on the achievement that waited for me in 21 kilometers, and focused my body on maintaining my running pace to achieve the 17-hour goal. Well, 2 hours later, I crossed the finish line as an Ironman with a time of 16 hours, 37 minutes, and 58 seconds. And it was at that moment I realized that all of my childhood dreams that I told you at the start had come true. I crossed the finish line as an engineer, checking my finish time on an Apple Watch that I made happen, and high-fiving a boy who was probably the same age that I was when I first had these dreams. As I passed the boy turned to his mother and said, "I want to be an Ironman one day." And I said to him, "One day, you definitely can be." And that's what I hope you all take away from what I've said tonight. No matter what color belt you have, white, green, brown, or black, you all have the strength, the passion, and the will to do whatever it takes to achieve something that you truly want. So I encourage you to set goals and embrace your journey to achieve them. You already have a head start being a martial artist, and you have Sensei as your mentor. I would not be where I am today if it was not for Sensei and the rest of the Kersey family. I learned many of life's lessons at Mr. Kersey's. I met my best friend, Jim Matthews, at Mr. Kersey's. And when I look back on where life has taken me since I put on my white belt in 1998, I now understand the meaning of Sensei's last quote to me. Knowledge is the reward, the belt is just the reminder. Being a student at Mr. Kersey's karate school has simply been the most rewarding experience of my life, with Ishinu Karate holding a special place in my heart forever. And I cannot thank you enough for everything that you've done for me. So finally, I'll leave you with a quote from the man who made my life possible, my job possible, Steve Jobs. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. They have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do, is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones that actually do. Thank you and happy holidays, and let's have a good night tonight. Thank you very much.